Whoa, whoa. Sorry, guys. Welcome. I was trying to move the camera down before I went live, and then it started shaking the whole thing. So, anyway, if you're catching this on replay, if you can hashtag replay in the comments for me, or come on in as if you were live and just comment normally, that would be awesome. I'd so appreciate it. If you are coming on live, then go ahead and just hop on in and let me know you're here and all the things. Thank you, guys. Hi, Linda. How are you tonight? Hi, Patty Ann. How are you doing? Welcome, everybody. We're going to do some more resin tonight. We did do some last week, and I'm going to show you how those turned out. So we're going to look at that in just a minute. How are you guys doing on this Thursday night? I keep thinking it's Friday, but it is not Friday. It is Thursday, right? Hi, Tracy. How are you? Thanks for sprinkling me into Craft Around the Clock. If you guys have never joined Craft Around the Clock, it's easy to do. I actually have that link up in my description. All you have to do is click on it once I'm done, and you can head on over there and see the next creator tonight. So, how many of you guys were with me last week when I did resin? Hi, Melissa. Hi, Charmed by Sage. Hi, Sage. How are you tonight? Also, if you see any of my fellow crafting sisters on with their businesses and you have not yet followed them, be sure and do that. There should be like a little blue follow after their name page and their page name. There we go. Like, that doesn't sound right. It came out wrong. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, follow them. If you guys haven't yet followed me, I'd love to have you here also. But we're going to get going. If you guys don't mind smashing some of these, that just helps wake up Facebook. And hopefully they'll start getting this out there. So thank you, guys. All right, so we did do some resin last week if you guys were on with me. So I just want to start out tonight real quick. We're going to look at those, and I'll show you what worked and what didn't, and then we'll go on to what we're going to do tonight, which is this piece here. And you might have saw me do this a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to do part 2 of this tray. Hi, Cindy with Cindy's Creations. So 2 of the notebook or journal covers that we did last week, I have already taken out of their molds. So here were their molds. This one, I have to say, I was a bit disappointed in how it turned out. I put some blue glass in there, and I put these butterflies that were like rhinestones. They had quite a bit of color on them, but in the resin, they just lost their color. And I'll show that to you. I mean, you can still see it a little, but not near what they were before the resin went on them. So I'm not sure what caused that, but yeah, that one was the one I was probably the most disappointed with, was those little, like, well, they're metal, but they come in a pack. Can't remember if it was at Walmart or Hobby Lobby. They weren't really expensive, but anyway, so that was the one I was the least happy with. Now, I did color the resin after we did our first piece, and I did put stickers in this one that I did with the yellow resin, and I like how that one turned out. Those are just paper stickers that we put in there. They show up pretty good. So I did really like that one. But my favorite by far is the first one we did, which we added dried flowers to the mold and the resin, if you guys were with me. And so I absolutely love how this one turned out. Got something on the other side now. If you guys can see that, I love the dried flowers in there and the way that that one turned out. What do you guys think? So of course, this is just one side of the journal. You do have to make the other side. And then I have these rings that I got off Amazon. Well, when I ordered the molds, the journal or notebook molds, whatever you want to call them, they did come with a couple, but then I went in and ordered some more. And so how it works is you make the front and back, and then you're going to put on my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. I haven't opened these yet. What did I do with my glasses? Oh, right in front of me. Of course. That's how it is, right? So these look like, yeah, you just kind of have to pull them apart and slip it in. So that's how you attach your two sides. And then you can also buy the paper that goes inside of them off of Amazon. You know, if you guys want any of this information, I can get it for you too. This is for the smaller one. I haven't got the paper yet for the other two sizes. It was delayed, so you can put however much paper you want in here, and then you have your little notebook or journal. And once I get the backs made, I will show you guys exactly how they look. And I have so many ideas now on stuff I want to try for those covers. Now that I've made a few, you know, as you make something, the ideas start happening, right? So this is 200 papers, pages, whatever you want to call it, that you get, which you could, you know, fill up a few notebooks with that, because you're not going to put a ton of papers in them probably. So I just wanted to give you guys all an update on that because I wanted you all to see. So what do you think about the notebook covers? Do you guys like how they turned out? Could you give me some hearts if you do? Which one's your favorite out of the three I showed you? Do you like the same one that I do the best? I mean, I really liked this one too, the yellow with the stickers. I thought that turned out really pretty. This was the only one I was a bit disappointed. Now you could see the crushed glass really well in here. It's just the colors on the butterflies. It kind of looks more like a blob than having a definition for the butterflies. But I think I'm going to, I want to try using some like old keys and different types of things like that to make a more vintage looking journal cover. So that is in my future. I don't have to put these back in here, but for right now, it just kind of keeps them safe. So anyway, that was our resin projects last week that we did. Now tonight we're going to do something totally different. Yeah, I do another tip though with this is I've realized you have to fill it all the way up to the top, because in some areas on this one, and once I do what I'm going to do with this tonight, if I have leftover resin, I am going to add it to this one, because there was a couple little areas I didn't get this one completely full. So be sure you go to that you know, top edge of your mold. Because I did do that on the butterfly one, and it by far turned out the best. Oh wow, your average notebook had 25 to 50 sheets of paper per notebook. Well, that is an interesting fact and good to know. So if you were going to sell your little journals, you would want to include 25 to 50 pages, Linda's saying. You could get 4 notebooks out of it, of course, if you did the 50 pages. So last time I worked on this tray with you guys, it's been a couple of weeks. I painted it. We decoupaged a Reba Rose print on here, which I absolutely love. And we started putting the gold antique paste from PintArt around this. If you guys are interested in what I'm putting on here. So we're going to add a few more things to this, and then we're going to resin it. So you'll see what it's like to resin like a bigger piece. I also want to resin another piece I have back here, which is actually, wow, I didn't realize my mic's kind of gotten covered, is a sign. So I don't know if I'll have time to get that one done tonight, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to apply a little bit more of the antique paste around this one. I feel like when you resin trays, it's one of the easier things to do. So if you're just starting out and you want to branch out into something beyond molds, I feel like trays are a pretty good starting point. Now, I started resining signs first, and then went on to trays later. I actually didn't do a tray until January, and I was like, wow, I should have done this before. I tried doing all the signs because, you know, you have an area where you can just keep it all contained. You don't have to worry about it running out anywhere. And I'm like, that is much nicer. I'm sorry, guys. I can see some comments. Hi, Sharon. I don't know if you guys just aren't commenting or I've seen some. It just keeps telling me people are watching over and over again. I don't know. My page has been that way for a bit. I don't know what's going on with it. I guess it's just one of those weird, wacky things, you know, from all the updates and changes on Facebook. So if you guys want information for any of the things, you know, that I'm showing you or trying to explain to you, let me know. I would be happy to do that. I am an affiliate with Reba Rose Creations, so this is one of her prints, and I can get you the link to that. If you guys can use my link, that just helps me out a little bit because I do get like a small commission from that. Okay, I'm not gonna fully do this. I might do a little bit more to it later. I don't know how dark I want to get this, but I want to have it all done so you guys can at least see the full effect once we get that resin on there. And of course, the resin won't be dry, but you'll see how much the resin just pulls out the colors in the print and makes them look even better. And I was going to try to get to this tray before now, but wasn't able to. So there we have a pretty good, at least we have some gold all around it. You guys are getting an idea of how that's going to go. We could do either the gold around our edge, or we could go in with like some distress oxide or ink and add even more to the outside parts of our tray. Hi, Georgine, Phyllis. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for hopping on tonight. And I don't even think I introduced myself. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Darlia, and I'm owner of Dark Shade Designs. I do live in Colorado, very near the Utah border. And thank you for being on tonight. I appreciate it. So some of the things I've thought about doing to this before we pour our resin on is, I don't know if you guys remembered, I did pour some of the yellow resin into molds because I had extra. I was thinking I could add some of those. Maybe not to the rose. I don't know. I actually have some clear resin, like these pretty roses that I did at a different time, and you could fit those in somewhere. We could paint them or leave them clear. I have some butterflies. I do have a little bird that we could add in here because there's this bird up there. We could paint it, and that might be kind of pretty to see how that turns out. But I wanted to do some different things because I've never, other than like cut glass or rhinestones, I've never really added a lot of stuff on the tray before I resined. And I even thought we could do maybe some paper flowers just to see how that worked out. So those are my ideas. We will probably also do some rhinestones because I feel like we could add those in here and they would look really pretty. So I'll pull those out real quick. Now, a lot of times when you do put the resin over it, it does kind of fade out whatever bling you may have going on. I'm going to use more bolder, brighter colors, so hopefully we can see them a little better. So we're going to be experimenting with adding a few things to this before we resin. So I want to make sure we have enough time to resin. So I'm going to keep an eye on our time. So let's look at some flowers in here just to see if I have anything that we might add. I feel like these little paper light pink roses we might be able to add in here. Now, if I put something that big in there though, it's going to stick up above our resin, which we don't want to happen necessarily, especially with a tray, because you're probably going to be setting stuff on it. If it was something you were going to have on a wall and you didn't mind if some things stuck out of the picture, because I think that can be kind of cool too. You could definitely, well, I think we could use these white little flowers in here. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if any of our paper flowers are really going to work. Maybe some of these. Let me look at these. You want them pretty flat and not going to be. Hi Kelly, how are you tonight? It's good to see you. Thanks for sprinkling me out. I appreciate that. That helps tremendously. So here are some of our flatter ones. It doesn't even necessarily have to be where there's a flower already. Like I think we could maybe add that in right there. There's a pink one. I think that would be pretty too. Or maybe we'll come over here. I've got to keep it down though, into the tray, not up on the sides. I don't know. I just don't know if we're going to have a place for anything really. I think that one would fit in fine right here. We're just trying to test this out to see how it's gonna look after we get the resin over it. Let's do one more maybe. Now the middle of this one is like sticking way up for some reason. I could cut it off. Those I think might work up there. In fact, I might be able to get all of them up there. I don't know. No. Probably put the one down here and maybe these two up here for flowers. And then if we add this little bird. Now, I'm not sure how, we definitely have to paint it. Hi, Debbie, Teresa. If I say hi to you guys twice. Hi, Sheila. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty well, although I've been watching my littlest granddaughter this week, and she's been sick, so my throat's feeling a little weird tonight, so I'm hoping I'm not going to get it. I was figuring it out. I had a cold in January, a cold in February, and if I got this one, that would be the third one each month for the last 3 months. I don't really want that. Do we ever? I mean, they did get tested and everything, and it's a cold. They don't have anything else. So we're going to kind of make this little bird look like the other one, hopefully, somewhat. I feel like if we didn't paint it, it would just disappear into the resin. So we'll add some brown onto here, but I'm just going to get some yellow on here first. We're going to try to get it all covered in yellow. Hopefully I have some brown over here. Yep, I do. Yay. Okay, I'm going to hit this with the heat tool real quick. will soften up our resin, right? So yeah, it seems like our family, my daughter, her 3 girls, and her husband have been passing stuff back and forth. And then my son, his wife, and their baby have been doing the same thing. My son ended up getting sick today, so we've all been having fun here. Have you guys been able to escape all the stuff? So I'm going to paint the little claw here. And our little beak. Yeah, definitely softened up the resin too. And then we're going to add some brown into the back. If we don't like this, you guys, we won't put it on. But I thought it was worth trying. Why not, right? All right, I'm going to try to cut off that little piece on the foot real quick. Now that I've softened it up. Okay. Like, just blow on it, right? Not use the heat tool. Okay, we're gonna let our little bird dry. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you guys have been doing good. Sheila, thank you for sprinkling, Tammy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was like, well, my daughter-in-law had it last week, and so she stayed home. And then she brought Aspen, who's 7, almost 8 months old now, on Monday. And she's like, I think she might have a little bit of a runny nose. And so as the day progressed, she kind of got more and more into stuff. Definitely a runny nose. Sneezing, coughing, you know, all the things, and then even a little bit of a temp. And I was like, oh, great. And I had my other 3 granddaughters here this week too, so we all got exposed to it. And then at that point, she's like, oh, I'm almost out of, you know, time off. I don't know what to do. And we'd already all been exposed, so I was like, well, I guess I'll just go ahead and watch her since, yay, right? The joys of being grandma. So I'm going to put a few of these yellow rhinestones from Totally Dazzled into this little tray. And I think I'm going to do some of these onto these little flowers on her rain boots. And we'll just hit a few of them. And again, I don't know how well this is going to show up through our resin, so we're just testing it out. Now I know the crushed glass will. I don't know how well these little rhinestone pieces will. So we're just trying some different things to see how they will show through the resin. So have you guys covered rhinestones with resin before? How did it turn out, if you have? Or have you done any of the paper flowers or anything like that? Okay, get that little thing in there. It's being stubborn. That really brings out those flowers for sure. With crushed glass, I don't usually glue it down because I'm usually putting quite a bit on. But if you want it to stay in one area, definitely better to glue because the resin will kind of move it around. So if you want to make sure it's in one spot, like you have a purpose in it being in that spot, then you definitely want to glue it. I'm going to add a few more because I do really like how it's looking. I mean, projects that you're working on, you can take them so far, right? You can just keep going and going if you wanted to. At some point, we do have to say, okay, it's done, right? Even that B7000 glue is pretty strong smelling for sure. Let me hold this up there so you guys can see it a little better. What do you think? Do you like the rhinestones on the boot? We could, what else could we add them to? Maybe some purple ones. Do I have purple? Yeah. On our lilacs might be pretty. Okay. Gotta watch my time. Don't get too involved here. I'm going to go ahead and glue these flowers in here while before I get started on these rhinestones, because we're just going to do a few of those too, and then we're going to just start mixing up our resin. I am going to have to cut off the end of this one because it's just too tall. Even with the other ones that I have there, they might be too tall too. Okay. This glue does take a little bit of time to set up, so we're probably gonna have to hit it with the heat tool too. Okay. What time did I come on? So I have about 10 minutes left. Okay. Yeah, I'm worried about those tops. Ugh. Maybe I just take those off and put rhinestones there. I'm not sure. So what I would do with the lilacs here is we would just go in and add a few rhinestones to this too. I didn't put my yellow ones back. like, oh, I will have plenty of time to do this. Time flies, right? So, just going in here. Sorry, you guys. I know I'm not looking up a lot. I will go back through and read your comments. So you could use as little or as many rhinestones as you wanted to. Oops. Trying to hurry now. I'm knocking things over. All right. That's probably all we're going to have time for. So what did you guys do today? Did anybody do anything fun and exciting? Since I've had a sick baby here all week, been pretty much just at the house. All right, I'm gonna add one more over here so it's not just 2 there and 2 over there. And then we're going to start mixing up our resin after we hit it with the heat tool real quick. Oh boy, well, forget that one. We're not picking them up. We'll just cover it with parchment paper. It will be good. Hi, Linda. Farmer, how are you? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Becky. Thank you guys for hopping on. All right, here's our, oh, we forgot our little bird. So I'm gonna have to pour this resin pretty thick, I think, to get everything in here actually. So let's get a cup. Actually, I already have one out. Just couldn't see it. Gonna get some parchment paper. I will clean up my rhinestones later. There goes the bird. Even though last time I was like, I don't think I need to cover my silicone mats with parchment paper because they I can wipe it off the parchment paper. Well, you can definitely get it off, and a lot of it just flakes off, but it was still kind of a pain. So I figured tonight we would try to get my hot glue out here, you guys, so we can get our little bird on, because I'm not going to have time for any glue to dry for sure. And our little bird, depending on how thick we get this resin on, might be sticking up too. All right, we're going for it. So wish me luck, right? I need to get that glue string out of there though. That wouldn't be too pretty. So there it is. Before we resin, we added our little resin bird. We've added 3 flowers, and we've added some rhinestones. You could definitely add more if you wanted. Let's get a stirring stick. I just need to bring this up here so I can actually reach it instead of trying to do it down there. And I had a pair of gloves in here. I can't remember if I set them out or not. It's the or not. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Ladonna. Hi, Deborah. Welcome. Nothing is going to be easy tonight, right? It's decided that it's going to be difficult for me. These are gloves that came with one of the resin kits, so I just decided to use these up before I started getting into my stash. You do want to make sure that your room is, you have a fan going on, a window open, you've got it ventilated. Even though I use low odor, you can definitely still smell it. You can wear a mask if you want to, if you feel more comfortable with that. So we're going to set that up here. And then we're going to pour equal amounts of A and B into our cup. And this resin gives you about 30 minutes to work with it. It starts getting thicker, definitely, but probably be better if I actually wore the glasses that were on my head. Okay, I put 1/4 cup of A. I'm going to do 1/4 cup of B. Try not to get that in you guys' way. I will be on tomorrow at 2 o'clock Mountain Time in the plastic, making things out of plastic Fun Friday event and Craft Around the Clock. That will be going on tomorrow. There'll be lots of different creators on all day. I meant all different creators doing all different kinds of projects. So we want to stir this for 3 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna run out of time, you guys. Do you guys have any questions about anything I've done so far? I'm anxious to see how these things turn out underneath the resin. Our paper flowers, if we'll be able to see our rhinestones very well, and then we have our resin bird. So what I do is I stir this resin for 3 minutes. And then I'm going to pour it over here, try to coat everything. Hopefully I have enough. At that point, once I feel like if I have enough in there, if I don't, I'll mix up more. Then I'm going to take the heat tool and kind of go back and forth over the top of it to make sure that any bubbles in there get popped. And after that, you probably don't need to check, because it's a tray and it's just kind of going to set in here. You don't have to check it that often. Now, if you're doing a sign or something that it's going to be dripping off your edges, you're going to want to wipe those edges and stuff to try to keep them clean. Because as it drips, it will kind of form bubbles of resin underneath your signs. So you want to kind of keep those wiped off because they're very hard to get off later. So, hi Becky. You guys, I gotta remember to bring my iPad in here so I can, right now there are quite a few bubbles in there, if you can see that. So we've got a good group of bubbles going. Our little birdie don't feel is setting in there very good. I don't think our glue worked, and I need to be stirring. So I'm pretty sure the next creator is probably coming on in Craft on the Clock. You can just swipe down on your phone and that will refresh if you're already on the Craft on the Clock page. If you're not, I do have that link up in my description. And I appreciate you guys for joining me here tonight. I'll probably stay on just one more minute and get this poured so you can see it before I hop off, but feel free to head over to the next person. Yeah, the slower you stir is usually better. I'm just being hyper tonight. I'm like, ah. Got to get it stirred. You too, Kelly. I appreciate you being here. I hope you guys have a very blessed evening. We're there, almost there. Okay, that's time. I'm going to try gluing this again real quick. And of course, I got a glob of hot glue in there. Going to hit it with the heat tool. Okay, I think it's on there this time. All right, you guys, here we go. And you definitely want to go over anything that you've put in there with the resin. And this is self-leveling. I probably didn't make enough. So I was going to make a cup, and then I was like, nah, I don't need to do a cup. It will level itself out to however much you have in here. It's going to level all of that out. But as you can see, hopefully right now, the parts that the resin is covering are becoming way more vibrant. And I'm going to have to make more, but I'm not going to keep you guys on. Let me just run this around a little bit, and so you guys can see. Now right here in the middle is where the resin isn't yet, and as you can tell, it's going to be paler. Where the resin is, it's just making those colors deeper and more vibrant. So I'm going to mix up probably another cup to put on here, but have a great night, you guys. I will definitely show you this once it dries. I appreciate you being here. Take care, everyone, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow for the fun event on Craft on the Clock. So I hope you liked it.